Hey, we are live. Just sorting out my shit. I'm Pete, this is Basil. We are doing just a bit of a catch up, so to speak. I've got some new knives on the table. There's going to be some steel tests in the future coming up. And yeah, just a bit of an opportunity to say hello and do a bit of a Q&A. I've got some free time finally. I've been very busy lately. Just trying to get my Q&As up. There we go. So that way I can see on the old iPad without having to continually check the screen. Hello. Yes. Righto. Okay, factor massive. All right. So yes, hi everyone. It's Pete here and Basil, and I'll show you Cedric later as well. I gave him a haircut. It's quite amusing. So that could be something. So this is probably the third live video I've ever done. So just fire your questions at me as you need be. I have got 6-7 new knives down on the table that I'm going to be looking at over the next little while on the channel. And I've got some rope here as well because I'm doing a rope cut later on. So very cool. So how are we all doing? Send nudes please. Hey, 3 messages in and there's already one up for review. Very well done, Sean. Let's show that one. Cool. So yeah, I hope you're all doing well. Yeah, sorry I've been away from things for a while. I've just been working really hard in my real life job, just because I've had to do a bit of extra sort of relieving up higher, and that just drains the time away. And then the rest of the time's for family really, and I squeeze a bit of knife stuff in here and there. But I really do generally like to keep maybe 4 videos or so coming per week, and I know I've not done that. I've been maybe 2, struggling to get 2 in. So yeah, if you fire any questions off, I'll do my best to get to them. Can I test Civivi D2? Yeah, I think they're doing D2 in some of their new knives now, aren't they? Not just the 9CR. So yeah, I'll get to that for sure. Speaking of D2, I've got another sample here. It's on another Ontario rat. This one's sent to me. Dave does my steel charts for me. He's a little bit better at the tech stuff. So if you know all my steel charts that are linked down below all my videos, it's like this big Google sheet, and it's quite complex these days. So Dave does them, and he sent me some of his knives to to test out, because I've got some different steels that I haven't tested before, or ones that I have but are due for a retest. So I've got some D2 here, and this is done. He's gone up to just a 1K, but it's almost got I'd say it's pretty much mirror finish just from stropping afterwards, 15 degrees per side. So we're doing some more D2 soon, but yeah, I'll get to the Civivi ones. I'm sure I'll handle one of those new Civivi knives again. The V-Toku 2 cut test. Yeah, that was supposed to happen, but I never got my... I had an order on Knife Center for ages and I started seeing them come out, and I just never got my V-Toku 2 Dragonfly. I'd pre-ordered it. I hadn't paid for it or anything, I don't think. But yeah, it was just interesting. I will try and get some V-Toku 2. I'm sure someone out there has some that they're happy to spare for me, so I'll track that down. No worries, Kevin. Thank you. Good data. Thank you for your craziness. Yes, I've got a new series going on the amalgam, which I'm sort of doing a bit here and there on the Spyderco amalgam. I've resolved that every time Nick sends me one of his Spydercos to do a review on, I'm gonna do like a completely off-the-wall bizarro video on it. So, because I kind of like the idea of Spyderco being like, hey Nick, why are you sending this idiot these knives? He's making these stupid films with them and we don't like it. So I'm wondering if that happens eventually. I'm wondering how outrageous I can get, or even if they're even aware at all. So that's kind of where I'm going with that. What's in my pocket? Oh no, it's nearly 20 degrees. We're flying in my jamonkeys. It's almost minus 20 degrees Celsius where he is. Today's a pretty mild day here. It's only about 22 degrees on the other side of the Celsius scale. So 22 degrees is nice. It's like good springtime weather, even though it's right in the middle of summer. But yeah, you guys are getting, well, some of you guys are getting smashed by the polar vortex, which is kind of how it's being sold to us. I'm not sure if it's actually that bad, but I noticed my buddy over at 555 Gear, he is doing leaving a watch out in the polar vortex video, which sounds really cool. So yeah. Did I do a workshop convex? No, I didn't do that on the Nitro V yet. It's sitting up in my shed, so it will happen. It's just in that stage where the knife's just still so nice and pretty. Once I've taken it out and used it a bit, I'll be less worried about making it look bad. But yeah, so that'll just be part of that testing. That knife is staying here, so that's my knife now, so I will certainly be happy to abuse it now that I'm certain I'm not sending it back. So yes, Phil, that will happen. But the temperature's a bit funny. It's so I heard someone saying that this vortex was supposed to happen like over Antarctica, and for some reason it's just shown up over America, and it's like, fuck you, America. So sorry about that. So I mean, the weather just does not give a shit about us, does it? Yeah. So yes, Phil, that will happen too. So yeah, let's look at these knives I've got on my table. Feel free to keep asking away. I will fire back answers as soon as I can, and then I'll take you outside quickly and show you a couple of things that are amusing me at the moment. So looking at this here, we've got some interesting new blades and steels. So really, really cool of Dave to send these along. So we'll start off. Here's the CRKT Pilar in S35VN. This has got a very nice mirror edge, courtesy of Dave. It's like I can see that is good or better than any of the mirrors I can do. So I'll be really interested to see how the S35 goes from this CRKT. You'll probably remember CRKT had that weird knife a while ago. I think it was the Hootenanny or something that was supposed to be S30V, but ended up being just a carbon steel. So I'm sure they've ironed out any of those kind of bugs, but be still very interested to see how this one goes. So very, very cool. No, I don't have 52-100 yet, but I've ordered one of those cold steel drop forged hunters. So the knife does nothing for me, but I am very interested in that steel. I just couldn't find a para in it that I was happy to sabotage for the purpose of my testing. Will I test any chisel grind knives? That's a good point. I've ordered a Emerson A100. So that is not a full chisel grind, but it's got the chisel edge, so it's a V-grind chisel edge knife. So I will be doing some testing with that 154cm versus the Buck Marksman 154cm. So that should be kind of cool. Interesting. Sushi chef knives. I think when kitchen knives, they're often better chisel grind because it's about the food stick and about how the food falls away from the knife and keeping a nice cascade of food. I think Steve Kalari, Super Steel Steve, would be able to shed more on that, or even Big Brown Bear, but I'm pretty sure that's the deal with chisel grinding chef's knives. So yes, that's that question. And yes, you are correct. You do see Skaha. So this is a North Arm Knives Skaha. You see that there? It's a really nice. This is like a knife that they've gone and asked every knife nerd they've combined all the crap that we always go on about in our knife reviews and just put it all on a knife, as far as I can tell. So you've got a nice sort of radius and contoured G10 handle. It's super lightweight. They've sort of gone with G10 as, they've said we're happy with it strong enough to not have liners at all. The locking leaf is a bit of a liner, but this side's just pure G10. It's got the wire clip that we're always banging on about. Pretty deep carry. Really nice, thin, slicey blade. So you say you compare it to like here's the CRKT Pilar. It's, it'd be like 2.8 millimeters or something. It's really, really nice. Obviously, I don't have the specs on me right now. Hey, Super Steel Steve, what is going on? You might be able to answer the question about the chisel grinding on chef's knives while you're here. I was just speculating that it's perhaps to do with how the food falls from the knife. When you're cutting stuff rapidly in a chef's knife. Is that why they do lots of chisel edges on chef's knives? That is what I think Super Steel Steve might be able to help us with, because he has some experience being a chef. So yeah, this is the Skaha anyway. The only thing I'm noticing about it is, and this is something, maybe I just have a really sort of soft part of this finger here, because I noticed it as well on the SOG terminus. The flipper's a little bit rough when you really grip into the knife and bear down. Especially when you do this grip where you really hold onto it and your thumb kind of pulls your knuckle towards the flipper. I do notice it's a little bit rough just from the jimping. That is the only flaw I can pick in this knife. Another really cool thing about it is, and I don't know how well it's going to show up on a measly iPhone screen, is that the steel's got this kind of like graduating grinds down. It's as if they've ground it down in increments. I know they haven't, and it's just a finish type, but geez, it is nice. And I also really like the stamping effect of North Arm, of S35VN, of Made in BC. I had to scratch my brain about that. I think it means British Columbia, but there you go. But yes. Cool. Now, yes, I am correct. Very good. Thank you, Super Steel Steve. This is a new Rat 1. It's the D2 Rat 1. So it's just a loaner, as I say at the start of the video when I guess some of you weren't here. These are all on loan from my steel charts guy. Dave has sent me a whole bunch of cool steels to test out. So D2 with his really nice edge. This feels like particularly biting and grabby. So very interested to see how that does on the cut test, for sure. So what are we doing? Hate to be that guy, but Enzo Necker, made in Finland, 12C27. You know what? No, I don't have an Enzo Necker, but I've got a little cool 12C27 Scandi ground knife up in my room there that I got sent at the same time as the Nitro V knife. So I'll be checking that out. Would it be possible to do an unleashed test that starts with a hair whittling edge with a super steel? Hey Kevin, get this, man. In Australia, our Michael Christie is pretty much, you know, Nathan Stewart. He's got the NJMS EDC channel. And he is he won one of our knife shows. He won the Sharpest Knife Award. He is our kind of the Stewart Edge. If you're on the Australian Blade Nerd forums, it's a thing, the Stewart Edge. So he has sharpened my Rex 121 knife, or he is sharpening it. And then we will be doing an unleashed super duper Rex 121. What I want that knife. I want to get that performance out of the Rex 121. I want to knock that tungsten carbide steel off. I want to knock off that that Sandrin knife. Nothing against Sandrin, but I don't know, the traditionalist in me says that I want a steel to hold my top spot. So I've sent it away to Nathan and said, do your best, man. Jethro did very, very well. He got it up to 1300-ish. But Nathan's edges are, you know, fairly infamous in the local scene here. So really, really cool. Excited about that for sure. So there we go. That is happening. So BC, British Columbia, yes, yes, yes. Now, any plans on making my own knife? You know, maybe once I've got a bit more time, once my kids aren't so small that they could be working around that sort of equipment and not walk into my shed and just put their hands on the wrong thing and die. Yeah, maybe one day I would consider myself more likely to do like the whole just CAD something out with a friend of mine who's talented with this sort of stuff, and just send it to like, do like what Cutlery Lover did and get like a design made. I think that's probably more likely me. Final form my ass. Yeah, very good call, Matt. Line still M1, anyone like? From Skank Hunt 48. Awesome South Park reference there. I love the M3 and I love the T5, obviously. The little line still fixed blades are on my radar for sure. Cool, cool. Yes, Super Steel Steve shedding more truth bombs on us about the chef's knife grind, so scroll up to check out his wisdom. There we go. Yes, and that should be Rex 121's final form. The Rake P121, right up my alley. They're so hard with their numbering schemes, but yep, I'll check out the Rake 121. Now, retests for 8CR13 MOV. Yes, that needs a lot more work, seeing as how widely it is used. The proliferation of that steel warrants, I would say, and that's a lot of my tests. I'm not going to be happy with my testing as any sort of single stop shop until I've done probably 20 of each steel. Like, until then, I'll always be saying to people, hey, you know, even now, it's interesting what's happening now on my channel. I think I'm about to hit the 20,000 subs, which is great. I'm starting to get lots of people who are first timers and they jump straight into just one of my testing videos. I guess that maybe they think it's just a standalone video. They don't know all the background, and they'll jump straight in and say, your testing is flawed. You know, this is wrong. This other person got this. Your testing is dumb. Fuck you. And I've got a few of those comments lately, and it's sort of, the first couple of them I shot a little message off saying, hey, I know this isn't perfect. And I know that there is, you know, a whole bunch of stuff that I'm missing. Please watch my FAQ video where I acknowledge all that and sort of work through it. But, you know, you do that for the first few and then you just give up kind of thing. But yes, 8CR13, a bit like D2. I've got a fair few D2 tests on the board now. S35VM was another one. The really common steels, I want to get lots of testing done on. And then in collaboration with other guys like Super Steel Steve, like Michael Christie, all sorts of other dudes are testing. Then between all of our viewpoints in that central point, you'll get the truth of a steel, I think. Maybe. Hey Stassa, what is up, man? Nick's had a really good presence lately on the YouTube, Stassa23 channel. Go and check him out. He had an awesome video for his birthday the other day where his daughter made a "Why My Dad is the Best" video. And I think everyone had some tears. Well, anyone with a soul and a heart was pretty warm to it by the end of that video. It was very nice. The Spyderco Sugma. Have I tried the new Spyderco Sugma? I've never even heard of the Spyderco Sugma. What is that? I'm not sure what that is. Now, KME question. Any idea why I'll have a beautiful mirror edge running through the lapping films until I get to the 0.15 and the 1 micron, and then I create a shitload of tiny micro scratches? Any insight? That's really interesting, Daddy-O EDC. I have not had that at all. The only thing I can say, sometimes I do feel like I go from a really shiny edge to a bit of a cloudy mirror edge on my KME. So I can go from, say, in maybe the third to last, I am what seems like, sometimes I almost think, geez, I might stop now. And then just from habit, I go through to the really fine one. And then sometimes it does seem a bit cloudier, but then I think I'm just not as fussed, so I don't really look at it as hard. Like, this is about as mirror as I've ever seen this Pilar here, and this isn't my edge, obviously, but this is pretty nice. Like, it's very hard to show, obviously, without doing a proper trick shot about it, but I very rarely get to that level, and it really depends on the steel as well. But no, I don't really have a great deal of insight on that, so that's for sure. Sorry, I can't really help much more on that one. I'd like to see some Rex 45 testing. So would I. There's a couple of these out. I'm going to try and hit someone up with one and see what they can do for me. Because yes, Rex 45 has been so commonly requested. Very analogous to HAP 40 apparently, but yes, it does need a test. Now, of the 2019's new knife releases, what am I most excited about? Now, I was watching the SHOT Show videos fairly well, and I was going to sort of cover this in this video as to who I think won SHOT Show. And initially, I was thinking Leatherman. Leatherman, I was looking at those cool new magnetized Leathermans, and I was like, damn, those look awesome. And then I sort of, I looked at them a bit more, and I'm like, they almost don't look like Leathermans anymore. It's funny. There's a bit of funny stuff with Leathermans, and I was talking to Icy Potato, who's a YouTuber, and he knows a lot about Leatherman's backstory and whatnot. And apparently there's a bit of a, some of them are maybe made like as collaborative efforts from different factories and stuff now. And these new Leathermans, upon further examination, they sort of look a bit more like they could be SOGs, or they just look a bit different. I mean, I'm still really curious to get one in hand. So I was going to say Leatherman have won SHOT Show, and their 2019 range really does still excite me, but I've tempered it a little bit. So there was Leatherman, they're doing well. Of course, the Para 3, I think the lightweight iteration that is incoming really does solve a lot of the Para 3 common gripes, namely this area here, and just the general kind of blockiness, and it's a little knife that carries like a big knife, some people say, and it's a degree of truth in that. So I reckon the Para 3 lightweight is, and I've ordered one, and it's in the BD1N steel, which is a great non-powdered steel. So I've ordered one, and I reckon that is something I'm very excited for. Really happy for that, finally getting like the Delica treatment. I always said that the Para 2 they should do an FRN version of all of their like big selling knives, because I think there'd be a massive market for it. It's like Benchmade. Benchmade should do a FRN 154 cm version of the 940 and sell it for like, just over $100. I reckon they'd just, it'd feel like this kind of quality knife still, and it'd be bloody great. Like, yeah, that's another thing they should do. Righto, how are we looking? Question for Super Steel Steve. Yes, he's lurking around, asking questions. Hello, Shane Miller, how are you going? Steel Wheel D2 on the new Piercer. Yeah, Steel Wheel's got a couple of new cool knives. It's a shame that lock never really eventuated, isn't it? But yeah, they're new. They've got a couple of knives. They seem to be sticking with that aesthetic they've got going with the like the Modus kind of handle, which is cool with me. It's a good handle. So yeah. Now. What are we? Do I have any Manly knives? No, that's another. The Manly knife and the what is it? And Enzo knives are the knives I'm told most often to pick up. Manly and Enzo knives. The Manly Patriot. Everyone says they ground really well, and yeah, I'll probably order one because they're really well commented. They're really well. Spoken of very highly in terms of how they grind them. So and I did see, and I think it was you, Super Steel Steve. You had like a awesome warranty experience with them as well, where super, they took good care of you, because I think they had like one that slipped out a bit wonky or something like that. So yes, Manly excite me, and I will definitely be seeking them for sure. Now. Yes, Chris, Allison, I do echo your sentiments there. It's always the people, you know what, if some established knife YouTuber or someone who I know is like a knife person, like makes their own content, if they were to call hijinks on me and say some of my stuff was shit, I'd be more inclined to listen. But yes, most folks are just a blank YouTube, profile, they don't even have their own profile pic. That's most of the folks who call shit on you. So yeah, hey, the Spyderco Ligma, very good. What else? Maybe there's something on your strop. That'd be referring to the KME fella with the scratches. There could just be some fine steel dust getting picked up and riding on that oil layer. Maybe that's a good suggestion with the KME, the finer lapping films putting scratches on. Maybe they're picking up steel residue or something. Yes. You should definitely do a test on the Spyderco Sigma when it comes out. They're still solving on it. I'm getting it. I'm a bit slow on that one. Yes, I walked right into that one. Hey, Jack Farm Boy. Hey, everyone. If you're not familiar, go check out Jack's channel, Jeremy's channel. He does some good work. Good editing is what I always like. Good bit of fanciness. I've got a low attention span. I'm Gen bloody Y or Z or whatever one I am as well. So I like the things I like the shiny picture movies, and Jack does it well. Gerber really shocked me with the EDC flipper. Yeah, I saw they're doing a non-automatic USA-made flipper from Gerber that could actually be very, very good. Gerber have had a few weird attempts at entering like this kind of market. They had the 39 series, which was an S30V folding knife, which by all accounts had great ideas, but the execution, and is often the case, kind of let it down a bit. So you never really heard much more of the Gerber 39 series. They had the Order, the Decree, and the Edict, which were 3 tactical kind of folders, and they were pretty well received. But they've yet to really make like a knife just to be like this, or I guess more realistically a knife to swing with these kind of guys, the Spydercos and the Benchmates. So who knows? We'll see how that new Gerber goes. Do you know if Aomar is made by Moki Knives in Japan? Okay, had eyes on one of the AUS8 blades called a Blackiston Fish Owl, and there are reviews on the tube. I have never even heard about who Aomar's maker is, so I really don't know. Someone else might have some idea about who makes the Aomar knives and in which factory. Because yeah, obviously it's I don't think they make them themselves. They're a design house rather than a knife maker. But yeah, cool. No, I have no idea. Sorry, Dan S. Really can't weigh in on that one. Cock and Balls from PGR. Yes, good contribution there. Para 2 Lightweight, another orderer in Jack Farmboy. Is that Tony's Para 3? No, these 2 Para 3s are my Steel Chart Wizard. Dave sent me he sent me all of these knives, and they're all for testing. So what we have here, I'll get to these now. So this is a Crewwear Para 3, right? So, and this Crewwear Para 3 has, well, not polished, but very much textureless G10. There is maybe a slight bit of that fabric-y feeling, but it's nothing like the standard Para G10. So really, really interesting. Nice feeling knife, and the blade, of course, is Crewwear. So interesting to test sort of some production Crewwear. So should be cool. The only Crewwear I've tested before is Creeley's Crewwear, and as we're seeing, as I often do see, custom maker with custom heat treat often gets some pretty darn good results, and that's exactly what Creeley's knives do. Obviously, he's the maker of my Rex knife and my Crewwear knife, and that is, yes, that's often, the clincher and why steel might do really, really well. Or like, look at the Nitro V I just tested. That's a non-powder steel, just with a custom heat treat, like a heat treat that might take a bit of time to micromanage, but it gets some good results. So interested to see how Spyderco's more mass-done heat treat will compare. So it's got some Crewwear here, and then yes, this is how it comes. This is the 4V Para 3. So Para 3 and 4V steel. I'm not sure which knife retailer this was the sprint for, but this was how it came. So you've got a blackout blade, because I guess 4V is fairly non-stainless. And yeah, blackened clip and blackened lanyard tube, and yeah, just the red handles are really, really cool. I like it a lot. So very cool. So yeah, they are Dave's Paris, and they'll be just going back once they're done. So there we go. Any ideas for a fourth potential dickhead survival, my dude? Yes. So my Patreons have made some suggestions about what I'm going to bring. I think the consensus is they're not really too fussed as long as I bring like a whole carton of beer and get progressively drunker over the course of it. So that's probably what I'm going to do. And I've also just got a kayak, so it might be a naval edition of Dickhead Survival. Who knows? But it's just a matter of getting out there and doing it. So I've got all my plans. I've got my idea for what it's going to be. So it should be a cool video once I get it done. Obviously, they're the longest and most involved videos that I make. So yeah, just just bear with me. Once who always says it'll take as long as it takes. It'll be released once it's ready. I think Square Enix, the Final Fantasy guys always say that. It'll be released when it's ready. So there you go. All my knives seem pretty manly to me. Yes, the Manly brand. Para 3 lightweight competition for the bug out. That's highly probable. What I think it's going to do is probably be the last nail on the Delica's coffin, because you look at the Delica, it's a good knife. It's a pretty old pattern now, and then they've got the Chaparral and FRN for like, what, $10, $15 more in a superior grind and steel, and then you're going to have the Para 3 to satisfy all the kind of the more sort of the couch flipping nerds, the more fidget guys. Delica's days are numbered, I reckon, as the go-to Spyderco for sure. Now. Yes, they went above and beyond. Just some feedback from Super Steel Steve about his experience with Manly, so that was cool. Now, Enzo, yes, I get a lot of requests to do Enzo knives. They are obviously a highly regarded European brand, so good on them. Now, Eversharp for filleting knife. Yeah, filleting knife steel is something else. It's very, very, obviously flexibility is an attribute, which is not something that is really considered at all for many folding knives. So yeah, I don't have a lot to say about filleting steels. I think they're all usually just 400 series kind of stuff. But yeah. No, I don't have any Murray Carter knives or experience with knives. Hitachi White Steel in the US. So they make Hitachi White Steel knives. I think you can also get white steel knives and just your basic Higa no Kami knives, often from the Japanese maker. But yes, Murray Carter, I don't know much about him at all. I'm not sure if he's related to Robert Carter, is he? I don't know. There's a few Carters getting around doing good things. Jack Farmboy, in reference to his editing prowess, he's overcompensating for shit reviews. We're all overcompensating for shit somethings, Jeremy, that's for sure. Do I like the Spyderco Roadie? Yeah, I did a review on the Spyderco Roadie a while back. It's a great knife. It is really good. You can probably just find it by searching Cedric Hater Spyderco Roadie, for sure. I am working down these questions. Chris, you got a Crilly Mako. Awesome. Having a 15 DPS mirror edge applied to it. So looking forward to that. Hey, that's, I reckon, what I'm going to end up with as well. I reckon that's what Nate Dogg's going to put on mine. So it's going to be awesome. Now, Jack, you've ordered the Chaparral. I assume that's the FRN one, which is an excellent choice. I had the carbon fiber one. That was a great knife, but I think something about keeping that knife low price, having the XHP steel, just perfect. Are you still liking my recently bought Zero Tolerance 0470? Yes. That has really resonated with me, that knife. It does everything I like a lot. It's, yeah, very good. So, yeah, probably my favorite zero tolerance. My three favorite zero tolerances are probably, that one is the first, that's my favorite. Then I like the 0220, which has just been discontinued, and now you can buy it at a much reduced price. A bit of a thicker stock knife, but I always found it cut pretty well. Really great knife, the Anso Design 0220. And then, these are just the newer knives on the table, so I don't have any of my other stuff here at the moment. Sorry, it's all up in my room. So yeah, it's a great knife. And then my third favorite is probably the 0562 in Elmax. That was a wonderful knife as well. Travis Porter, how does one go about sending me a knife? I take very limited, very short runs of knife. These are all from Dave, who's my steel guy, who I have an ongoing dialogue with, and he said I can take as long with these as I want. I don't generally keep knives from people unless like they really kind of say, hey, unless they really insist. So yeah, in dribs and drabs, because I find it stresses me out. Once I've got all these knives sitting there, I start looking, and especially when I've had a busier month like I've had, they just sitting in the back of my mind, and what I'll eventually end up doing is rushing out reviews that I'm not happy with, just so I can get the knives back to people. And that is me. That's not everyone is with a couple of exceptions, everyone who's ever lent me knives has been absolutely wonderful. It's a self-imposed thing, so I just try to limit it. Even this, I opened this box and I was like, oh, yikes. But yeah, I'll work through these gradually, and I've got Dave's assurance that I can take as long as I want with these. So there you go. Yeah, it's a very occasional thing that I do. The belly and the tip is impossible to sharpen to me. Is that on a KME, Joe? That's a definite a learning curve. The tips I find fine. I only go up to about the middle of the stone. So say on the tip of the knife, I'll always have at least half the stone on it, and I'll just work back and forward like normal. Trickiest part, probably for sure. I'll talk about this knife in a second, actually. Very interesting. But yeah, it is a massive learning curve, man, for sure. Now, what's the knife in the middle? Yes, okay, this is the Spyderco Dallara 3. So this was a knife that was out for exactly a year pretty much and then discontinued. I don't think it sold very well. I actually had this as I really, really wanted to pick up this knife. This is a Seki City G10 S30V knife with this really interesting, and this is basically a Manix 2 ball bearing lock, but and I guess there's no pulling punches. It's just really slippery and really inset. So it's a really the ball almost feels like it's like a pearl, like it rolls around a bit inside against the spring. It's a very strong lock, so the tang's got a ball-shaped recess in it that this ball pops forward on a spring, on like a piston spring, very similar to the Manix 2 lock, and then slips into. Really great strong lock in terms of its strength. There's no play in it at all, but with my fingers, you actually have to reach fairly deep into the recess hole for it. And yeah, it's smooth enough, you can snap it shut and stuff. But yeah, I think the spec behind this was it's a rescue knife. Dallara, I think, was a fellow, either he perished in the September 11 attacks or he was one of the heroes, or maybe both. A firefighter with a policeman, I think, with some rescue knife design experience. So this is a rescue knife, and it's got grippy G10. It'd definitely do the job. Just, yeah, I think maybe some grippy gloves would grab this ball a little bit better. Otherwise, it's just a really interesting choice. Why they would go with this and not with just either an outset metal bar or something. But yeah, really interesting. Again, sent from Dave, S30V, nice and slim. Feels a bit like the same level of quality as the Police 4, like as in these, the Seki factory can do some really good work with the G10, the backspaces and all that sort of thing. So yeah, not a bad knife at all, just a really odd locking mechanism. Really, either I haven't got it yet, or it's just got a slight flaw to it. So interesting, only did a year, the Dallara, and then it's discontinued. So if you see one around in the shops and you like the look of it, pick one up. It's got a pretty thin blade. It's all the good elements are here. Just that lock, it's just strange. But if you're a bit of a lock collector, like if you collect for locks and mechanisms, then it might be of interest to you. Alrighty. Now, where's the 0470? Just upstairs. Sorry for the spam, that's okay. Did I get your question, Mora Blade? Do I like the Spyderco Roadie? Yes, I already answered that one. Yes, I did. And there's a video on it. Favorite production fixed blade? Well, I've got the Phobos Legion bouncing around. You know what? I'm just going to go get it. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll get some other stuff too. Now, I know I'm probably pushing the definition of production. I always like it to be a knife that you guys can just go out and buy. I don't think they make this anymore, but this is the Bark River Phobos Legion. I'm currently reviewing this. I'm just taking my time. It's because it's not really available anymore, so I'm like, is it even worth reviewing? I'll still make a video on it, but I do like to be able to show a video and have it so everyone can just get it because there's nothing worse than seeing a video on something and then it's a custom knife that you can never have. It's like, hey, here's this great knife. Fuck you, you can't have it. So that's a bit, So I'm into minds about, how to review it, but I've shot lots of footage. It's just great. I like this more than I've ever liked, like the Falkniven A1 or anything like that. It's a production knife. It's just made at Bark River. It's CPM 154, and it's both slicey and also ultra thick. It's got a nice sort of tip for, decent, jabbing and poking and prying. This does everything I like a big outdoors knife to do. So this is probably my favorite production knife at the moment. But then, Yeah, there's a lot of knives I like. I love those Tarava Yukari Pukos. They're absolutely great production knives, and they're so cheap. They're such good value. There are so many awesome, sort of well-priced production knives nowadays. But yeah, the Spyderco Bill Moran is another great one. I use that as a little mobile chef's knife when I go camping. I've just ordered one in the without the black coating, because the black coating drives me a bit nuts. So I've got rid of my black coated one, and I've got myself a. I'll leave this out because it's just so damn handsome. I've got a silver one coming because the black one was some limited edition. It was getting scuffed up, so off it goes, away it goes. So there we are. So the Phobos Legion, probably my favorite production fixed blade. How cool is it? Look at it. Absolutely amazing. Now, Skaha 2 with some love hearts. Yes, it is. How do I feel about the American Lawman going to S35 VM? From what I understand, XHP isn't as available as it was. And yeah, that's the reason we were all told as to why that was happening. And then all of a sudden, there's heaps of like Spydercos coming at it and stuff. And Spyderco have like made more chaparrals in it. So I don't know what the go is with the XHP. Maybe the price went up. Maybe something must have happened that either maybe Cold Steel's relationship with Carpenter, the price increase, something happened there. To be honest, I mean, I know this probably goes against how I see my am, but between S35 and XHP, yeah, if you're measuring for absolute edge retention, the XHP is probably going to do a bit better for you. But in terms of day-to-day use, like I think I'd be a bit, it'd be a bit precocious of me to say that it's actually going to be of a meaningful difference to the end user. I know I'm talking to a lot of like knife geeks, so it probably is of value to us, like as in our little circle who are watching this film right now. But I think to the masses and to everyone else, I think it's just fine. It's not a biggie. I would prefer the XHP to have stayed, but yeah, I really don't know what happened there. There's got to be a tale behind it. Is there any still I haven't got my hands on yet that I'm interested in? Yeah, the Rex 121. No, sorry, the Rex 45. The VTOKU 2 for sure. 52-100, which I've got some on the way finally. 52-100 I'm really interested in because it's such a widely used steel in custom makers. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be something a bit like Nitro V, where the heat treats are probably going to be wildly different to each other and how the knives perform. So very interested in 52-100 to see how that goes. There we go. Gribby balls, sorry, I'm 12. You're welcome here, Dan. I welcome all ages. Now, will there be any follow-up on the tungsten carbide blade from Sandrin? Yeah, I need to. Well, I've sent one to Michael Christie, so he's kind of doing my follow-up for me. I sent a brand new one to Mike, so I'm hoping he does some cool things with it eventually, but no rush on him. He'll do it when he gets to it. But yeah, I've got mine still up here, which I'm going to send to Nero Knives as well. So, and I gave the other one away for a fellow who... there's a charity raffle or something like that, so I put that in a raffle for someone else, the stainless one. So before I send mine back off to Nero, I reckon I'll do a couple of things with it. Bowls is what's going on in the comments. Bowls, bowls, bowls. Black River in 3V, the Aurora. Yes, the Dutch Bushcraft fellows love that. Go and check out their video today of them doing you probably all watch Dutch Bushcraft knives. They did an awesome chili pepper sauce video today, and I really like those videos, so very cool. Now, any chance of seeing Rockstead ZDP this year? Oh man, that is my grail blade to do my testing with anyway. I'm so curious as to whether it is, because you see them do their cut test. They do the direct push down cut test, and that's a different way of doing a cut test. My cut test, I believe, tests the edge in a drag cut a little bit as well as a push cut. It's like a push and drag like that. They just do the downwards, and you notice that's what Bussy do. That's what a lot of people who want to show great edge retention in a video, that's what they'll do. The downward push cut, wedging that material apart a little bit more, perhaps putting a little bit more emphasis on the grind as well. So really interesting, and all these things are important. But I would love to do my test with a Rockstead. I had a Heisen in my cart last year, and the day I went to finally order it, it was gone. So they're not super regular. If you sometimes you have to wait a few months. So yes, Rockstead are going to happen. That's for sure. Just not sure when. Maybe this year. I hope this year. Now you can choke up for detail work on the Bark River, says Chris, and that is true. Budget knives, CRKT or Kershaw. I like Siak. Oh, yeah, I don't know. They're both such similar companies, really. They both have some excellent designs. They both just have heaps of disposable, like forgettable designs. Both about the same price point. I would not want to choose just one because if you choose just Kershaw, you miss out on the Pilars, and if you choose just Siak AT, you miss out on the Atmoses. So yeah, they're both great. Hard to choose. Now, Neves Knives is late, but he's here, and that's what counts. Welcome, Neves Knives. I also wanted a rampless Bravo EDC for backpacking, says Dan S. Yeah, they say, people who get Bravos say, get rid of that ramp. They say that is, I don't know why they keep making it with a ramp, because it seems to be the preference of the Bark River fans even, that the ramp is... But then you get the real super fans, and those guys don't fuck around, and they're like, no, the ramp is useful for this, and they give you like 7 reasons why you're an idiot for getting rid of the ramp. Like anything, there are so many experts in this field. Now, the heat treat on every S35V knife has sucks, and he finds it much softer than S30V. Yeah, that's not an uncommon thing to hear. Some people swear that S30V lasts a good long time, longer than the S35. In my testing, it's about the same, but I've obviously had some erroneous S35 VNs. I've had a couple of ZTs, which I really couldn't get to hold an edge. But then I got the other ZTs that held a great edge on it. The 0220 held a great edge. So yeah, it's one of those stills that maybe is just a bit fiddly, or a bit, for mass heat treatment, is maybe something that needs to be really well dialed in. Some love for the Chaparral coming through in the comments, which is well deserved. No, I got that, Dan. You're not actually 12. I think we all have a 12-year-old inside it. Oh, no, I can't. Oh, geez. No, I'm not going to finish that sentence. I think within us all, there is a 12-year-old mind ticking away. Wow. Yes. Travis Porter can send a Rex 45 Para 3 for testing. Yeah, that would probably be cool, Travis. I reckon that I will take you up on that. It has been so commonly requested. I will prioritize that one. So yeah, send me an email, cedric.ada@gmail.com. Let's get that done. That'll make everyone happy. Chris Allison loves the Nero videos. Yeah, I think he's busy at the moment. He is like a little ripped powerhouse of muscle. You see, like I think he's right into like the gains life as well. So I think if you're not seeing any knife videos for a while, you'll see him in his next one, and he'll just be holding those tires like one hand and just fucking digging his knife straight into him because he'll be that ripped and jacked. So I think that's what he's putting a lot of his time into at the moment. Now, I have a Bark River Gunny, Bravo 1, Bravo 2, and S35 VN. They know how to heat treat the steel. Oh, it's Scott Buckler. Hey, Scotty. Scotty's an Australian, and we talk a bit. Bark River, Bark River's another way is polarizing companies. You get people who are like, yay, and people who are like, boo. But I've not really had a Bark River that had a bad heat treat. Obviously, I had that one that had the wrong steel in it, but that's a different story. What's up, Neves Knives? So Jack lit a fire under someone's ass. That's good. Now, well, I lost my place. Someone ordered a Moki because of Jack's recommendations. Cool. Bravo. The Legion. Yeah, Chug Dude. These were like, I saw the Prepared Mind 101 video on this, and I was like, I want that. And then I have a knife retailer here in Australia called Aussie Knives, and just because it's in Australia and I guess the market is smaller, this has just been sitting on their website for ages and just not selling. And I think it's because there's just less buyers, and I think people in America, which is obviously the main knife consuming country, they're not going to go and buy from an Australian site and get it sent all over because probably going to stick to your ones you know. So this was actually sitting for a good long time, and eventually I just pulled the trigger. 450 Australian dollars though. What? Yeah. So I took a bit of a chance, but you know what I was choosing between at the time? I was choosing between a Falkniven A1 Pro and this, and the A1 Pro in Australia, $629. Absolute mad lads. So this is about $200 cheaper than the A1 Pro. The steel, I would say, CPM 154, laminated COS, comparable. And then this just has that little extra nice sort of, I don't know, Phobos, the guy at Phobos, he's like a real keen, like super kind of guy. No, those guys always appeal to me, and it just seemed a bit more personable than the Falkniven. So I went with this. And yeah, I was just lucky that it was still there. Hello from Poland, Sebastian K says hello from Poland to us all. Hello from Australia, Sebastian K. I told my daughters if they listen, you'd say hello. Please don't make them a liar. So hello to Jocelyn and Delia. They are Skankunt 48's daughters. Hello, ladies. Be good to your father when he deserves it. Dan S hates how the ramp looks on the Bark Rivers. Yeah, I had the ramp. I mean, I'm used to ramps because I'm a Spyderco nerd. So, I mean, every knife I have in hand has a ramp. So I got used to it pretty quick. But I do see the critiques, and I think they're valid. Joe N has issues with his S35V and ZTs. That's maybe why they moved to 20CV. That is probable / possible for sure. The only brand that sells knives that aren't in S35V and an M390 is Spyderco. You know, that's very true. Spyderco, if you see a knife from it, they do the native in S35VN as a base model, but that is it, really. And you're absolutely right. I think they stick with the things that they know, and I reckon if S35V is obviously working for them at the moment, so I think, yeah, they don't want to be tied in with anything that's maybe slightly difficult from time to time. So who knows, maybe that's exactly why. Their quality control isn't so hot right now. Is that about Spyderco, possibly? Or maybe it's about Bark River, I'm not sure. How's my man Basil? I'll try and track Basil down in a second. Now, you've got to return your pilar. It's got problems. You don't want to try and fix it. Yeah, CRKT. Yes, I have heard this. Even some of these I heard were a bit off-centered and that sort of thing. This one's pretty good. Yeah, this one's actually spot on. But yeah, this is a bit of a... It still doesn't feel like a premium knife, even though they've gone and put this and this on it. It feels about as quality as the existing pilar, so you wouldn't obviously know if it's S35V and until you start doing a cut test with it. And yeah, the CF scale is nice, but yeah, it doesn't feel like a super high quality knife just yet. It feels like a good knife. It's a very competent knife, but yeah, interesting to hear that. But yeah, my pilar, this is my buddy Dave's. This one seems fine. Now, why are knife prices so high in Australia? Is it just import costs or is it tax related? So Australian dollar, this, I don't want to, you sound a bit toolish when you start talking about this, or at least I do. I think, say in America, right, you look at like a policeman in America probably makes like, you know, was it $55,000 a year or something, maybe 40 to 50, and live relatively comfortable. Policeman in Australia probably makes about $80,000 to $85,000 a year, lives relatively comfortably. So it's the same level of comfort, but the money amounts are just more inflated. I guess that's kind of the thing. So I reckon $450 in Australia is probably, if I took that over to America, it'd equate to about $300 worth of stuff. I think that's about, and I looked at the retail cost of this. I think it is just that the money amounts are higher, but the actual meaning behind the dollars are about the same, if you get what I mean. The slightly higher than reasonable that it seems sometimes is probably due to shipping and also due to it being a bit of a niche thing in Australia to be into knives. We don't have such a huge population, so if you go out on the limb and open a knife store, I guess you don't have those guaranteed customers. It's a bit of a smaller pond here, so I think there's a bit of a factor of that as well. Has a Spidey Chef and loves it. Hey man, Spidey Chef brothers, you're going to get a native 5 salt, but taught between serrated or straight edges. Okay. The serrated edge, I just don't have a need for really, unless you're using it to cut lots of rope. So if you're using it as a climbing or a kayaking knife only, like something where you've got lots of like tying up and taking apart to do, I'd get the serrated, but otherwise plain edge, kept well sharp is going to do the trick. Especially with LC200N, edge will be nice for a good long time. So yes. Now, what do we got here? First impressions of the Skaha. So the Skaha is lovely. There is nothing I would really, as I said at the start of the video, it feels like they've got every knife gripe that Nick Shabazz ever had and put it into a knife and made it really, really nice. It's got a thin blade that is ground so fiercely behind the edge. It is really, really thin here. It's unique in that I've got this cool graduating pattern on the steel, which is really nice. It's just solid G10 handles. They're happy with the strength of that. The flipper is really, really like nice and dynamic, has a nice solid thunk when it goes in, which is really cool. And yeah, obviously torques to take it apart. Wire clip is great. Only thing I said at the start is when, and I'm maybe a bit sensitive to this, I don't know why, flipper tab on the grip is a little bit rough against the index finger. So all I can really critique on it, but apart from that, I would foresee it getting a pretty good review. Are these hard to get? these are Dave's knives. If these are hard to get, I would say it's a pretty, well worth getting on the list for one, I would say. Otherwise, if you see one around and it's a decent price, see, I don't know much about the knife just yet, so I don't know what their price at or anything. So, but just from blind first impressions, it's bloody great. S35VN, unless it's like $600, I can't see it being a bad deal at all. Alrighty. Hi Pete from Canada. Hey, it's Gun Cotton, a very frequent commenter. Hello. G'day, Marmite, love it or hate it. Marmite is like the sweeter cousin of Vegemite, and I hate it. I'm not a Marmite fan. I like the sort of the more tartness of Vegemite, which by the standards of any other civilized country is probably also disgusting. So there we go. I love it when knife makers regarding Phobos seem to really enjoy what they do. You know who I love watching? And he reminded me a bit of the Phobos guy. You know that insane E.J. Snyder guy? He's just like ultra intense, and he made that Skull Crusher knife that's like this big. I love characters like that because they're so different to me that I find them fascinating. I'm like, can this guy maintain it? Can he maintain this for his whole life? Like, does he go home and just like wake up in the morning and scream like, "You're a golden god" in the mirror? It seems like they do, and I just love people like that. They're just so amusing and entertaining, and just, always really just solid guys, Hello from San Diego, the land of jackassery. It did get a substantial increase in jackassery recently, as I heard you got a new resident over there. Gray Holm is home from work. G'day, Pete. Hey, man, another frequent commenter there. Well appreciated. You do know your regulars, don't worry. Now, 100 viewers. Pete, you should be a Twitch streamer. I could revolutionize the knife industry. I reckon Twitch is almost, I think games almost own Twitch, don't they? I never really spend much time on Twitch, although I do watch Donut Operator on Twitch sometimes. He's pretty good. I got my Spyderco, I got my fiance a Spyderco K11P, and she loves it. It's the only kitchen knife she uses. That is awesome. And you know why that's awesome as well, that you got one of those? Because they're now discontinued. So you got on just in time for the K series of Spyderco knives. The K11 and the K12, they're not making them anymore. And they are wonderful kitchen knives. And yes, the cook's knife and the chef's knife and the serrated versions are awesome. So well played, sir. You did well. Here in the States, CRKT is a budget brand, $40 for a large pillar. Yeah, that's about what they are here. I think with conversion, it'd be about $65 to get a large flipping D2 pillar here. So that's kind of, they're definitely budget here as well. Apart from those home fronts, they seem to sell for like $150. Is there something I'm missing there? I'm not sure. Now, regarding my edge retention tests, I find it intriguing when I attempted to bring an edge back after getting some work done on it. Yeah, I like that too, seeing if I can strop it back to slicing, all that good stuff. There's just so much I could possibly do with the edge retention. I just kind of have to pull up stumps somewhere and say, I'll leave the rest to someone else. I would do much more if I had the time, for sure. Would I be willing to pay more for a knife in S35V and over S30V? Is the upgrade noticeable enough? No, I don't think I would pay. I wouldn't care enough at that price point that you're probably looking at, whether it's, all I'd be after at those kind of price points, is it a powder steel? Is it a well-regarded steel, and has good things been said about this particular iteration of the steel? So I wouldn't pick nits that far. I always look at the steels as in, there's like 4 different price gradings. There's like the budget stuff like the 8CR13s through to like your D2s. Then there's like your really high-end non-powdered steels, which is kind of from where D2 meets those ones to where D2 meets like, Nitro V, for example, or laminated COS. So then there's that. And then there's your basic powder steels, which go from like your S30Vs to maybe your CTS XHPs. And then everything above that is going from, LMAX, M390 and beyond. So those are kind of the price gradients that I kind of see where I'd actually differentiate between the steels. The rest I kind of just go on how well the knife's put together. Now, are there any new releases at SHOT catching my eye? I did watch a fair bit of SHOT. You know who I really found myself drawn towards this year? Tops Knives. Not really a Tops Knives, devotee, but they have some cool new kitchen knives coming out, and I like the designs, and I just think they're doing well. I think Tops, I think I'm going to get a couple of Tops knives. You know what I want from Tops? That giant, like, stupid combat 7-inch thing that's like, that thick. The Phobos side of me wants that knife as well, so maybe that's on the horizon. But yeah, and also the Spyderco Para 3 lightweight, and also those new Leathermans. I'm interested in them. I'm not sure if they're going to be great. Now, what if I did an on-the-go retention where you can touch up the knife and see how far it goes? Yeah, that's a good idea. Nero did something similar where he just kept on stropping up, I think it was VG10, and it got really, really far. And then eventually the steel fatigues in a different way, apparently. So very, very interesting to think of that. How is CTS XHP to sharpen? I never have too much of a problem with it over, say, your standard powder steel. So I haven't had any great difficulties with it. And I've obviously played with my American Lawman a whole bunch. I've ruined that knife with sharpening. That's on the CRKT. Blade sits sideways and cut straight and from Neves' pillar. That sucks, man. Send it back. Paul Hogan's a national treasure in Australia. Why can't you find a proper Crocodile Dundee bowie anywhere? Hey, I know, right? There was a company called Down Under Knives making these, or getting these Chinese 440C giant bowie knives in, and they were just selling them for that kind of market. And by all accounts, they weren't particularly good. We don't have a particularly robust production knife industry here in Australia. We've got lots of great custom makers though. Lots of great custom makers. But yeah, there's no real market for it. We would probably just be looking at something like something from a, like who makes a good Bowie knife? Like, well, there's that new Spyderco Respect, for example. Cold Steel Trailmaster. Things like that are probably what I'd navigate towards. Now, I live 5 minutes from North Arms Knives. That's cool. They seem to be a nice company. I don't know much about the new CF scales that North Arm offer. I don't know much about North Arm apart from getting this knife in hand and obviously seeing Nick's review, which seems to make the company just blow up and start selling heaps of Skahas. 14 months for the Skaha wait list. Oh my god! So I've got like a national treasure in my house here. That sucks, doesn't it? Don't you? And I know they need to make them good, and I'm sure it's just like a 2 or 3 man operation, so you can't blame them. It's just one of those things that sucks, doesn't it? You just have to be like, well, do I want it so much that I'll still want it in 14 months? Or am I just a superficial knife guy and any purchase would scratch my itch right now? That's the discussion I have with myself very often. The weather right now is quite nice. We are not in the super heat anymore. We had a super hot week where temperatures got up to almost 50 degrees Celsius, which is like 130 Fahrenheit. So now this is a nice spring day. It's quite nice outside. It is, just a sunny springtime. It's lovely. So there's that going on there. Pretty good. Where are we? Used the scar to cut my son's umbilical cord, and now it sits in the safe. That's a cool knife story. I don't have that at all. I would keep that one in the safe and get another Skaha. And I would leave all the mung on it and everything, and be all and bring it out at his 21st birthday and show his current girlfriend, and then see how that'll test that relationship. It's a long game plan, but that's what you should do with that, my man. Twitch is expanding into other streams. Okay, yeah, all that stuff. Twitch, Discord. This is enough at the moment. Like, I don't think I have the time, but if it was beneficial and if there was the audience for it, then I'd probably do something like it. Because, hey, I'm a YouTuber. I am an attention whore, obviously. Like, you don't make YouTube unless you want attention. So, yeah, if it balances out, then yeah, I could possibly see myself doing it. Now, toughness is higher on S35V, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, probable. You see lots more fixed blade knives in S35 than fixed blades in S30V, so that's probably a lot of truth to that. Marmite is the cold steel of savoury spreads. Vegemite is again, so that's cool. Okay, what's the most bogan knife I own? So I don't keep a great deal of like trashy knives around the place. Just looking in my box right now, these are all pretty good. I mean, I've got a Z-Hunter that Nick sent, which is pretty trashy, pretty bogan. All right. So bogans here in Australia, they often get caught with like we don't have gas station knives, we've got like tobacco shop knives. They're like brands like Excalibur and Smith & Wesson and all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, this is pretty crusty. My buddy Chris sent me his clasp knife. These are pretty dinky. These, one of my earliest reviews is on, not this exact one, but one of these. And this is like a real kind of basic. I think the steel is AUS 6, I heard, on these. It's a Japanese-made variant, this one. So it's pretty scungy knife. The rest I've got some real odds and ends, like some of those off-brand Chinese things. They're pretty seedy as well, so I guess they're bogan-ish. What knife benefited from the hello Paul. What knife benefited from the Unleashed to the Max treatment the most? I think, thinking back, I reckon VG10 and, AUS 8 and 4116, like the budget steels, that I found that they had that little level of toughness, I reckon, that they could really hold that crazy edge. And they seem to get the most kind of percentage-wise acceleration, but I'd have to consult my spreadsheet. All right. I don't think, someone just commented, I don't think nobody outside Australia knows the word bogan. Yeah, so bogan is like feral or just low class. In England, you'd say shav. In America, you might say redneck. But then redneck's often a point of pride, as is bogan in Australia sometimes as well. So I'm not sure. It's all like nomenclature, but bogan often means just a bit rough. Rough diamond, Von Tempsky Bowie, yes, that's probably the best kind of like traditional-ish Bowie you can get. New Zealand company though, but they're very much just like first cousins of ours. So the Von Tempsky Bowie is probably a great example. Kapara, someone is just saying the word Kapara, so let's bust the Kapara out. Lovely knife. One of my favorites, second favorite Spyderco by now, I think. Absolutely awesome. The Kapara, and I highly recommend. Still like this, I think. I like it more than the 0470, which is great, but that's the 0470 for someone who was asking for it before. Very cool. Now, did someone say Giant Bowie? The Schrade Leroy, I remember that. When Schrade were like the darling of the knife internet community. How times have changed. Now no one makes videos on Schrade. They just lost us like within, I think they got bought out by Smith & Wesson, and then it was that whole gun company knife thing that they just don't quite get it, and it just doesn't resonate with us. And then you just never think about them again. Schrade, isn't that funny? Ontario SP10 Marine Raider Bowie is a beast. Yeah, man, it definitely is. It's thick and it's strong, but it's definitely a traditional Bowie. It's got the crossguard and everything. Rubber handles, but Anyway. Advanced Knife Bro is moving to California. Should he make buddy cop movies with Shabazz? You know what California reminds me of? There's an SNL sketch called The Californians, and it's the people who talk, you know what? I listen to some podcasts from Californian people, and I don't know if they realize they do it, but maybe it seems like a real freeway-centric place, and they do talk so much about what roads they take to get places, and it's an enjoyable bit of commentary and satire, because I do listen to these Californians doing their podcasts, and they're always talking about, so I was on the 5 and I was just about to turn onto 18th, and then this happened, and it's just really funny, this Californian thing. So they should make a buddy cop movie where they just cruise the highways and confiscate knives from people, and he just breaks them in battening videos. Minus 31 Fahrenheit in Michigan, that sounds cold. Umbilical cord cut tests, rare and elusive, but meaningful, no doubt. Okay, everyone's comparing temperatures. Talk amongst yourselves, lads. Condor Undertaker Bowie and Operator Bowie, both sweet. Take your word for it, I can't picture them off the top of my head. Leatherman Squirt with a scissor is good to carry on your keychain. That it is. Skank Hunt needs a good first Spyderco. Good first Spyderco. You know what? Looking at I don't think anyone could go wrong with the Spidey Chef. I think this does everything that Spyderco does pretty right, and it's great. If you're more of a traditionalist, the Mantra Flipper, well, not a traditionalist, but if you're more of like a knife guy who has lots of other brands, the Mantra Flipper is great. It's very basic, shape, pattern, nothing to really be too hot or cold about. It's a very neutral knife. It is fine. Mantra's great. The Native is pretty basic. This is like their most basic good knife. Don't mind the degrees. That's just so when I do the cut test with this Maximat knife here, I know what it is at. 17 degrees, mirror polish. Whew. Thanks, Dave. We'll see how that goes, eh? But the Natives and the Manixes are pretty good too. Endura, Spyderco Endura in ZDP 189. You cannot go wrong with that knife. That's an excellent knife as well. 100,000 subscriber special where me and Advanced Knife Bro go cross country, dickhead survival, pick a mutual country. That would be a dream. And that would be, if this was my full-time job, I would probably make that happen. We would be quite the team, I'm sure. Did you watch his Cooper's Pale Ale video, his beer review? I sent him that beer. That's one of our Aussie beers, and it was great. Pumped for the Para 3 Lightweight. I think we all are. I think we all look at that and say, you know what? There was always some weirdness to this knife. We all like it, and we're all like, good job, Spyderco. Just keep working on it. The main thing about the Para 3 I always found weird. Why did they call it the Para 3? They should have just called it the Para, or the little Para, or the Paramilitary, or something. Because now they can't really do a Paramilitary 3 when they QCI that. Although maybe they can't. Can you improve it? I don't know. It's interesting. Balls on your chin, Magnum Mountaineer from Super Steel Steve. Are you asking me what state I live in? I live in South Australia. It's the southern part of Australia, as the name would imply. The Benchmade Freak in N4, how cool is that? I want to go on, because you can go on Benchmade's website, and you can make your own knife pretty much out of some of their main patterns, and you can use M4 and other cool steels. So I'm curious on doing that. So I think I'll do that one time, but for a pre-done, the Freak in M4 sounds like a good deal to me. Kapara in LC200N would be sunglasses. Cool, I think. Yeah, you know, you're absolutely right. A lot of the common criticisms of the Kapara is that it is just a bit boring that they went with their City V. I mean, I think the carbon fiber scales and the cool red backspace make up for the boring. But yeah, I can see that. Right. Sorry, Back the Mountaineer. I'm trying to keep up, and I missed your barb if you were sending him barbs. And unfortunately, yes, yours was one that got read out. Have I watched BoJack Horseman or Wilfred? I hear BoJack Horseman is like profoundly good. I've not watched it. I watched like the first couple of episodes of it, and it's a bit like that show Big Mouth. The art style just kind of turned me away, and I was a bit like, I just couldn't, like the art style I just find really unappealing, but I can't ignore that people are saying it's like amazing, and it's, you know, deep, and it's excellent, whilst also still being very funny. So yeah, I need to check out BoJack Horseman. Wilfred, I remember when it was on years ago on SBS, and I think they did an Elijah Wood version of it. That was a funny show. Hello, Jack Sparron in Florida there. Please inform me your IP address and credit card info, and those 3 special digits on the back, the magic numbers. Yes. It's going to snow here soon. I drive an 89 Toyota pickup like a Hilux. I know the Hilux with rear-wheel drive, and you've somehow survived. Most of those are all-wheel drive, I reckon, since the 90s. But anyway, cool. Right. Sleesh Boy on eBay around Christmas time, you lucky devil. Hello from Texas to Fireblade. Am I British or Welsh? I'm neither. I'm Australian. Although we are just British by extension, I suppose. We just got all the... I think they sent like the most rough British people to Australia, like the most kind of feral, I guess, to use a previous, or bogan to use a previous term. And that's why we ended up talking like this, because we kind of just... It's too hot here to be bothered finishing our words properly. Although I have been told I'm a bit more of a fancy, like, I talk a bit more fancy-like than most Australians. So I often get mistaken for British at work. Don't know. Ever tried sharpening 17 on one side and 22 on the other? No, it has not occurred to me to do that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you outside and we're going to have a look at Cedric, because I shaved him the other day and he looks hilarious. Ugh. Cedric, come on, man, come here. Ugh. Come here, dude, over here. Look at this idiot. He was just really hot and gross, and he had all these mats because he always sits in this paddling pool all day, and he had all these mats all around his ass, like to the point where like it was all so stuck together that he couldn't move around properly. So I gave him a well good shave. He still stinks a bit because he goes and like rolls in the dirt and probably his own shit because he's not too bright, is he? Good boy. But yeah, so he's actually really like spry and mobile again now. So let's like show all the people. He's like all around here. He's all like short and silly again. It's all funny, hey? You're a good boy. So yeah, this was an interesting adventure in sharpening. I had to sharpen some dog clipper blades, so that was really cool. It was like, I should have made a video on it actually, because you don't really see too much of that around. Hey, look at Cedric's asshole. You don't really see too much of that sort of stuff around. And yeah, it was just really interesting task. I ended up using my Tormek and just used the flat surface of it and sharpened my dog clipper blade. So there we go. There's Ada too. Hello, Ada. There's Cedric. Oh, isn't he a good boy? You wash him once, and the first thing he does is just goes and rolls in the dirt and just gets shit again. He's such an idiot. Hey, you're a good boy. Hey, you're a good boy. But yeah, he's old now. He's 12 this year. He's all white around here. Hey, don't know how much longer we've got him for, eh? Do we, old mate? Oh, he's a good boy. So that's Cedric. He's had his hair cut and he's all... It's not the best job in the world, but you know, it did the trick. For those 50-degree days, you feel less bad about him walking around in the heat outside. Because these are outside dogs. If they come inside, they just ruin the house. So they've got a pool of water to sit in. So now he can do that with confidence. And yeah, it doesn't all get stuck to his ass. Hey? And all those... Oh, the amount of dingleberries that came off. It was a thing. It was a thing. Good boy. He's a good boy. So there he is. That's old Cedric. So I just thought I'd show you all that because he amuses me greatly. And let's go find Basil, shall we? Because Basil is obviously another feature of this channel. Where are we, old mate? Basil, Basil, Basil. Here he is. There's old back Basil, eh? Just existing like normal. He doesn't like being on the... He really gets camera shy. Let's chase him around the house. Isn't he amazing? He's glorious, isn't he? So that's old Basil. Just sort of... Whenever you come and pop a camera right in his face, he really doesn't enjoy it a great deal. So he gets all like sheepish and put out by it. So anyway, so there's old mate Basil just going for a bit of a walk around. I think he's actually losing a bit of weight. His tummy doesn't touch the ground like when he just kind of strolls around. I mean, that's not his best angle given. I mean, that is pretty thick still, but yeah, he's definitely still packing. But with the amount of comments, you think knife people can be bad in comments? Try cat people. Holy shit! That video, bizarrely, it's my most popular video, the Basil review. You want to see what those people are savage in the comments. Like, if Basil could read, he would have killed himself by now having read those comments. In case you didn't know, Basil is fat. And if you ever want confirmation, you can read the comments of that video. And holy shit, those people are just intense. So sorry, I probably missed a whole bunch of your comments while I was going walkabout. But that's the state of the pets at the minute. Let's plug the old phone back in. But yeah. Now, let's see. What have I missed? So, yes. Now. Posh Aussie, yes, Posh Aussie. That's true. In South Australia, we were settlers, not convicts. Hello, Lisa. Sisters in the chat. We don't have the Queen on our money. No, that's good. Yes, they are very good doggos. And yeah, the shaving Cedric did seem to take some years off him in terms of his spryness and also in terms of his appearance, which is really cool. Dog balls, yeah, I'm sure you got a big old... Well, he doesn't have balls, but yeah. And yes, Ada is... Oh, she's just chill. Like, she kind of just wanders around. And Cedric just doesn't entertain her like he used to. She used to chase him around, and now he just kind of lies there all day because he's old. That is a fat cat, yes. Kitty looks impressed. Absolute unit. Yeah, I'd give that a shot. Skank hunt, that cutting test thing with the 2 different angles on the one knife. Interesting. And yes, Basil is a chunky boy. He is gorgeous. He is very cool. And yes, the thick behind the edge shirt, I did have it made. I'm going to get my buddy Gagsy to do it a bit better than I did it because mine was very much a backyard kind of job. So I'll get some new shirts made with, and I'm going to do, a whole bunch of you suggested I should do like a tour shirt with all my cut results on the back of it. I kind of like that idea. I think that's cool. So I'm going to try and get that working too. That Teespring site is really good, but it's kind of limited in what you can do. But then I'm not an expert in doing it any other way. So it's kind of what I'm stuck with. But yes. Now. Did I shave Cedric's hair with my advocate? No. Buck 110 versus 110 deadly tiger snakes. Who wins? The tiger snakes would win against the knife, but the knife fans would probably win against the tiger snakes, or at least they would tell you that. Shave the cat. Oh, you know what? We shave the other cat, Lemon. She's probably heard him on video right now, so she's just hiding because she knows what comes next. She knows it comes with me putting her in the camera, so she's fucked off. But we do shave her because her hair gets matty and gross because she's a exotic short hair type cat. Now, Basil's its most popular video because Basil was awesome. Interviewing my cat was hilarious. Yeah, I enjoyed that message a whole lot, so that was good. Now, Cold Steel's Taiwan AUSAA is better. Yeah, I don't see too much of it anymore. I reckon they're moving away from it. They've got it in a few of their fixed blades still, like the spiky ones and stuff, but yeah, it seems like they're doing a few more. Now, Ethan Grow Knives. I've not heard of Ethan Grow Knives. What's a cool name? It sounds like they'd make knives for like the elves in Rivendell. Cool. They're like a D2 kind of knife brand. Yeah, there's a fair few of those getting around at the moment, just like the China D2 knives. Lots of them are good. There's just so many of them, you don't know where to start, you know? Knife Lab posters to complement the Blade HQ ones. Yeah, I should do like a, hey Ben Peterson, check out my fancy knife poster. And it'd just, because Ben's quite like well-to-do, mine would be all like filthy and full of like dick jokes and stuff. And it'd just be like the evil twin to it, so that'd be good. Is being an Uncle Randy a bad thing? No, definitely not. But I find the types of folks that this community can sustain is so varied, and yet sometimes it feels very myopic. But when you think about it, there are the Uncle Randys, and then there are the like the hipster gear reviewer dudes, like say More Than Just Survival guy. If you read that blog, and he's like, you know, smoking corncob pipes, and you know, you just imagine the whole blog just going like behind him as he's writing it, sort of thing. So I always just find amusement from the different personality types you get in this thing. So no, being an Uncle Randy is definitely not a bad thing, but you just have to be able to find amusement with the different personality types that are around. Basil would be pissed if he shaved him. Yes, Uncle Randy's not going to pop in for a surprise live video appearance. That would be difficult. Cut test shirt, like a death metal. Yes, like a Viking. Yeah, I can see that. Good design. More dick jokes equals better. I reckon I'm going to wrap it up there. My wife has just got home, so she'll walk in and be embarrassed if I'm still doing live videos. So let's leave it at that. She might want to say hello quickly. Say hello. You're live though, so don't fall over or anything. So that's that, guys. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next video, and some more stuff coming up with these fabulous knives that Dave has sent me. So I'll see you all in the next one, dudes.